devoid of this world. They were involved in it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَكَوَاعِبَ أَتْرَابًا. There are quite a bit of tafsir about that one that I would rather not elaborate on. But in general, it's talking about ankles and having beautiful spouses. Something we should have here, healthy families. And I actually gave a khutbah on the World Cup. You know, that was our khutbah, the World Cup. And people ask me, how on earth are you going to find something in the Quran? I said, وَكَأْسٍ دِهَاقًا. You know, كَأْسٍ دِهَاقًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned cups in the Quran that will be filled with alcohol. Right? So I said, that's greater than the World Cup, mashallah. But the point is that the people of taqwa, and I want us to be serious for a minute, look at their qualities as found in Jannah, and let us see if we have those qualities here. Are our homes peaceful? Is our relationship with Allah secure? Is our relationship with others secure? Are we emotionally stable? Are we enjoying this world in a balanced way? Are we experiencing some successes? All of those, alhamdulillah, are the signs of the people of taqwa. And that's why one of the scholars, in a beautiful tafsir, he wrote actually 22 sifat of the people of taqwa. Ja'ana Allah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us and you from them, inshallah. The last point that I want to make is really something crucial. And that is that you are involved in a very historic moment. You are building something incredible. And perhaps you're saying, you know, this is the Badiyah. This is Tennessee. This is the Qarya. This is the Reef. You know, this is a small place. We don't need such a big center. You know, we don't really need a 63,000 square foot masjid. لَعَلَ الشَّيْطَانِ يَأْتِي عِنْدَكَ وَيُوَسْوِسِ. You know, shaitan is coming to you and saying this. I live in Boston. 10 years ago in Boston, we set out to build a 70,000 square foot masjid. Initially, and the history of that is such that when people presented it, that's what people said. Like, it's going to be too big, subhanAllah, like, what are you doing with 70,000 square feet? You know, after the first year, we ran out of space. So, don't allow shaitan to, number one, discourage you from thinking big. Think big. I've never seen a masjid go bankrupt because it tried to do it right. What I see is, and I've actually never seen a masjid go bankrupt. What I see are malnourished and mediocre institutions that don't have a vision to inspire people. But this is an inspirational vision. A 63,000 square foot multi-purpose building who, thank God, the gym size is equal. That is an inspiration. And that inspiration should help you overcome any of the doubts of shaitan who's going to come to you and try to stop you. Number two is fear. The Muslim community can no longer live in the shade of fear. Fear is extremely unhealthy unless it's the fear of Allah. فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ خَافُونِي إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And we're talking about Amir al-Sha'ra, you know, the prince of poets, if you will. And I'm from Azhar. And in Egypt, if you cannot quote Ahmed Shawqi, then you're not really Egyptian. This is how it works. And he has this poem. That's a very powerful poem about an ant. A small ant. And he says, and this is Bahr Ramla, كانت النملة تمشي مرة تحت المقطم. You know, he talks about this ant who, if you're from Cairo, you know what are the mu'attam? They're these small hills. People think they're mountains, but they're really hills. And he talks about this ant who tries to climb up this mountain. And suddenly the ant, she realizes, I'm an ant, and I'm climbing a mountain. Like, ants don't climb mountains. And then he says in the second line of the poem that her legs went like this. Like, she was so scared, like the little ant legs just broke down. Right? And then she starts to have this conversation with herself. Oh, I'm an ant. I'm inferior. What am I doing climbing a mountain? This is ridiculous. So she begins to run down the mountain. She runs from her fears. And that's what happens to our communities post 9/11. We're seeing what's happening in Gaza. We see what's happening in Syria. We see what's happening to us politically in this country. Fear is not a solution to this. You have the boxing gloves of Sugar Ray Leonard here, right? You know what makes Sugar Ray Leonard endeared to the people is he took on Roberto Duran, right? No mas, no mas. America doesn't like wimps. It's just how it is. From John Wayne to Muhammad Ali. My father told me I hated Muhammad Ali till he didn't go to Vietnam. Like, that's when I respected him as a man. He stood for something. He demanded my respect. The Muslim community, post 9/11, has become hyper-apologetic to the point that the bully is going to come to us every day and take our lunch money. Until we stand up and speak about certain things and institutionalize in a way that protects ourselves. Let me ask you this question. I have children. How many of you have had the experience where you take your child to a mosque and they're proud of that mosque? You should think about, honestly, the architecture of a structure. We talk about maqasid sharia, Sheikh Yasser, all the time. Maqasid sharia. Maqasid sharia is about philosophy and taf'eel and maqasid. What about the maqasid of having a beautiful structure that our children have a sense of izzah to belong to? So when they go to church, when they go to school, and their friends who go to mega churches that have Starbucks in them, like, tell me about your church, man. We got this, we got a masseur, you get your oil changed. And like, well, we got a shower curtain in the back, so I can't see my mama, right? That's my church. Or do we want Abdullah to be able to say, man, my church kills your church, dude. We got 2 gyms. Yeah, and 63,000 square feet. We watched the World Cup in our mosque. Right? There's and I believe that psychological, Ibn Hajib talked about this in Mukhtasar Sariyat Usul, the idea of having an emotional affinity to Islam is really from the maqasid sharia. That there's a sense of izzah to be Muslim. So when you build a structure like the one here, there is going to be a systemic impact where your children are proud to be Muslim. Because the structure is a proud structure. Where young women who may feel inferior because of some of the negative messaging within the Muslim community, here with a sheikh, a scholar like Dr. Yasser, and this kind of facility, no one will ever be able to attack them because they're Muslim women. Because they've had an experience in their community. Like in Boston, one of the things we started doing now is a shahada ceremony for young American Muslims who, at the age of bulugh, want to take their shahada, even though they're born Muslim. Girls and boys. And we have like a small celebration, Tajdeedul Iman. Prophet said, renew your iman. Young women have told me who've done that, like, I will always feel part of a community now. Like I accepted and embraced Islam on my own, and the community embraced me back. So you have to start to think now about psychological affinity, not apathy. And this structure that you're building, if you allow your fears to terrify you like that ant, you will suffer. But if you confront those fears and trust in Allah and build this